Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristen and I'm so excited that you're here. I make videos to encourage you, empower you to be more and not less in this world, and most importantly to have fun, because this beautiful life is meant to be enjoyed.
Everybody has their doubts, but you can't stop now. You just gotta live.
So I'm coming at you guys from a little bit different of a spot in my room today because I'm filming this video at a later time than I normally do, and the sun is just messing with the spot I normally do, and it's not good lighting and not good videography. So we're moving over here, but I thought it was pretty relevant because now you guys can see my Pooh Bear tapestry that I had up in my apartment at the Disney College program, and now I have it in my room, and it's just fitting for the video because today is another Disney College program video number 2. If you remember in my last video, I went over the basics of the Disney College program, what it was, the different role options, how to apply, the acceptance process, all of those good things. If you haven't watched that yet, highly recommend it. Go check it out. But today's video, now we get into more of the fun stuff because you've accepted into the program, you've clicked accept, but now what? That is the question we're talking about today. Let's just jump right in. I did forget to mention in the other video that when you go to accept, that is when you pick your arrival date. So every single season of a college program, there are usually 4 different arrival dates that you can pick from, all just 1 week after another. So for example, for my college program, you could pick August 6th, August 13th, August 20th, and then the first week in September. And that's just obviously to give you options, and because they have so many people doing the program that if they all arrived on the same day, that would just be kind of overwhelming for everyone. The only benefits of arriving earlier is that you get more time on the program by a couple weeks, but it also depends on your schedule. I couldn't pick the very first day, August 6th, because I was taking summer classes that ended on the 3rd, and that was just too quick of a turnaround for me to feel comfortable finishing class, packing up, and driving halfway across the country to Florida from Texas. That said, let's get into the stuff that you actually care about, the roommate situation. You have any number between 1 and 7 roommates. I don't think you can live alone unless maybe you have like a medical note or something, but you're gonna have at least one other roommate all the way up to 7, which means there can be anywhere from 2 to 8 people in an apartment. But don't worry, there's different sizes and different amount of rooms, so it's not just like 8 people in one room because that would be kind of crazy, even for Disney. How do you go about picking and finding roommates? Well, first, I will just put this disclaimer, and I will say this many times throughout the video, you actually can't guarantee your roommates, unfortunately. You can request them, but they're never guaranteed. The biggest thing with roommates is they have to have the same start date as you. They can't be arriving a week earlier, they can't be arriving a week later, they have to be arriving the same day that you picked. Otherwise, you can't be roommates. But how to go about finding those people is usually the Facebook group. So when you are applying, there are Facebook groups for people who are applying. Back when I did it, it was Disney World Fall 2018 interest or some group like that. And then once you were accepted, there was another Facebook group that was Fall 2018 Walt Disney World accepted. And so once you get into the accepted group, everyone who's been accepted into that same program that you've been accepted to are in there. And what generally starts is people start passing around and filling out a roommate survey quiz thing. It's not like an official Disney thing, but it just has quite a bit of questions, just kind of what kind of person you are, what kind of things you enjoy. Are you a night owl? Are you a morning person? Do you like to party? Are you looking for a very quiet room? What do you like to do for fun? Are you messy? Are you organized? Obviously, these are things you want to know when you're about to live with someone for multiple months. And also on that survey, people will put the dates that they chose to arrive so you can know, hey, we arrived the same date and I like you, this is a good start. Now I will say for me, people were passing around that survey quiz before acceptance in that interest group, Facebook group, and while that was good, it was also kind of bad because if you found someone you really liked and they didn't get either accepted the same wave as you, like if you got accepted and had to start looking for roommates, but you didn't know if this person was accepted yet, or if they picked a different date, that made it tricky. But I'm just saying, some people will start putting them out early. And so how I found my roommates is in the interest group. I had put out a survey and another girl put out her survey, and I found her because we had the same exact birthday to the year, January 1st, 1997. And we were very similar. So I'm like, okay, I like you. Like, we're like, cool, that's awesome. And then when I got accepted, it was actually a little bit hectic because I picked, like I said, the 13th. Everyone in that acceptance group had picked August 6th. So these were people too that I had a lot in common with, and I'm like, shoot, like, am I gonna have no roommates? And so I literally considered emailing Disney and be like, I'm so sorry, can I switch to the 6th? Like, I'll just make it happen. And I decided to go to bed the night. I'm like, Kristen, just sleep on it. Like, just give it time. You're okay. And when I woke up the next morning, I had a message from the girl who I originally met, who we had the same birthday, saying that she had just been accepted and was looking between these two dates, and one of the dates was the day that I picked, so I told her that and she picked it so we could be roommates. Shout out Natalie if you're watching this. You were awesome to room with. And then same girl messaged me and the other girl, and so we both liked her. Shout out Wimberly. And then Wimberly had been talking to Lana, so Wimberly brought Lana in, and just like that, in a day we had us four, and we started talking and we hit it off. And let me just tell you, like, they are so awesome. I still talk to them to this day. We're trying to plan Disney reunions, we go to each other's weddings. It's so awesome. And don't feel pressure. Like, you do not have to find roommates that first day. You don't even have to find roommates at all. Like, you can totally go random and let Disney pick for you. That's completely fine as well. And you also have time. This was back in February, and we didn't even sign up for housing until the end of July, and we weren't arriving till like the middle of August. So you have plenty of time. Don't think you have to pick the first person. Like, get to know each other. When we arrived, we had been talking for 5 months, almost to the day, texting and getting to know each other more. And we obviously decided that we all like to room together, so we did. But there's no pressure to, like, you have so much time to get to know someone and talk. And if 2 months in you're just like, listen, I just don't think we'd be the right person, there's obviously no harm in that. But my biggest tips here are the Facebook group. Look for people who are arriving the same day as you, and then look for people who are similar or similar to the type of person that you would want to live with on the roommate quiz, and then just start talking to them and see what happens. Now for housing. This kind of goes in with the roommates, and it's the same disclaimer. Unfortunately, you cannot guarantee what apartment complex or what room situation you'll be given, just like you can't guarantee your roommates. So with housing, there are 4 complexes: Patterson, Chatham Square, Vista Way, and the Commons. And I do know that last year they started building a 5th complex. I'm not sure what the name is. I'm not sure what location it is because obviously they didn't have it when I was there. But I do know they're building it because they want to expand the program, and because the program was growing before. They had a lot of, not a lot, but a good amount of rooms that had bunk beds and 3 people to a room, and that does get a little bit crowded. So I am glad to see them opening up some more spaces for people to live in. As I'm editing this video, I went to actually look because I knew it was called Flamingo something, and I actually found an article that kind of explains the floor plan a little bit and when it was expected to be open. So I linked that article to the new Disney College Program housing below if you're interested. Out of all those 4, they are all generally within the same location. There's Patterson and Chatham Square are right across from each other, and then maybe an 8 to 10 minute walk down the road. This way is the Commons, and then unfortunately you can't walk to Vista Way, but it's just across 1 or 2 streets down, you know, maybe like a 6-7 minute drive from the others. Not too bad at all. Now, of course, within each complex there are differences as well, and there's pros and cons to each. I'm honestly not going to get into them all in this video. I will try and find some of the resources that me and my roommates used to go through them and link them down below if you want to go through those. But truly, if you Google Disney College Program housing, you're going to find so many YouTube videos, you can find so many blogs and resources on those. But like I said, each one does have their pro, and you and your roommates have to go through and decide which one's going to be best for you as far as which complex, because they are different, as well as the different rooming situation within it, because like I said, you could have anywhere between 2 to 8 people in an apartment, anywhere, you know, between 1 to 4 rooms, and that's what you gotta pick. So for the complexes, real quick, just kind of some high-level pros of each of them. So for Chatham Square, that is where 99.9% of the college program events happen. They have a huge field there, so you'll be right there in the action. You're gonna meet a lot of people, and it's one of the biggest. Patterson, I believe, is the most beautiful as far as like the buildings and the outside and walking around, so I really enjoyed Patterson when I went to visit. Vista Way is right across the street from a Walgreens, I believe. It's within walking distance, so if you don't have a car or you just need something really quick, medicine or food or whatnot at night, it's a quick, easy, safe walk right across the street. And then the Commons, which is where I lived, and that one, the big pro, which is why we wanted to live there, was that they have washing machines within each apartment. So unfortunately for Vista Way, Patterson, and Chatham Square, there are just washing machines per building. You know, here's building number 1, and there's 1 to 2 laundry rooms down below for the whole apartment to use. And that also means that you have to pay for them. But we really wanted the Commons because, yes, that was, even though it was more expensive, you didn't have to pay for doing laundry because it just came out of your rent every single week. And also it was so nice because you didn't have to worry about leaving your clothes unattended. My roommates aren't gonna steal my clothes, whereas if you left them down on in the first floor and random people are coming in and out, that's a little more scary. Now it comes time for picking housing. About 3 weeks before your arrival date, you get an email where you can go in and you can request housing, complexes, and roommates. To note, if you have a group of people who want to room together, only one of you needs to go in. If you are by yourself, you don't care, you're going random, go in, do it for yourself. But when you get that email, make sure that only one person goes in to do it, because when they go in initially, they're gonna say, are there any roommates that you want to request? They'll type everyone's names in, and then when they submit that, it will send an email out to the rest of you who didn't go in and fill that out, saying they're requesting you to be their roommate. Do you want to link to them? And you can say yes, confirm, and that will link you to them. And so then when that one person went in and put all of their preferences, you'll be linked to their preferences. Make sure you do not all go in, just one person, if you do have more than one person you want to room with. Now, when that person does go in, they put the roommates in, so then you're linking. Then next you have to rank every single possible option for housing that there is. This is not just the complexes. This is each of the complexes in each of the different rooms. So it would be
Commons, 2-bedroom, 4-person. Commons, 4-bedroom, 8-person. Chatham, 2-bedroom, 4-person. Chatham, 3-bedroom, 6 people. Chatham, 2-bedroom, 6 people.
tons and tons, all of them. It's kind of a long list. You have to rank them from dead first to dead last, second, third, fourth, all the way down, however many there were. I think there were close to 30 maybe, or 20 something. There's a lot, okay? This is something that you want to get together with your roommates beforehand and try and just figure out at least an idea. You gotta just kind of decide with your roommates what we want. You know, for example, like we said, 2-bedroom, 4-person at the Commons was our top choice. However, we then had to decide, do we want the Commons enough, or would we be willing to do a 3-bedroom, 6-person or a 4-bedroom, 8-person and have random people just to be in the Commons? Or would we rather go to Vista Way or Chatham or Patterson to have the 2-bedroom, 4-person? Honestly, I don't remember what we put next. I just remember we really wanted the 2-bedroom, 4-person at the Commons, and we were fortunate enough to get our top option. That's not always the case, but you do have to decide, is it more important to have the complex? Is it more important to have the room set up, and figure that out with your roommates when you go in and select your preferences. And again, that's about 3 weeks before your guys' arrival dates. So about 1 month out from your arrival date is when you will get the email that's kind of just gives you your basic role. Like I said, when you accepted, you knew what your role was. Were you quick service food and beverage? Were you merchandise, attraction, whatever the case may be. But you didn't know what park, you didn't know what specific area. Well, 1 month out, you get some more insight into that. If I'm being honest, I think it was 1 month out, but when I tried scrolling back, I couldn't find the email in my saved emails, but I did find an email 1 week out that had my itinerary and also had my specific location. But like I said, I am 99.9% sure that I found out sooner than 1 week out. So I'm gonna say stick with this 1 month, but sorry if I'm wrong. Anyway, when you get the sheet, it will tell you your specific park and if you have an area So obviously the parks, you could be Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, or Disney Springs. For example, for me, I was Magic Kingdom, so before I just knew I was attractions. Then when I got this email, it said attractions, Magic Kingdom, Fantasyland West. So I now knew, okay, my park is Magic Kingdom, and I am in Fantasyland, and then within that Fantasyland West. I had no idea what that means. I didn't know what was east, what was west, whatever the case might be. So then I went on to Facebook and to Google, and I just literally searched Fantasyland West attractions. I figured out from the information that I got that it could be It's a Small World, Peter Pan, Mickey's PhilharMagic, the Carousel, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, the Teacups, or Winnie the Pooh. So I knew I had those 7 rides as an option, but again, I didn't know if I rotated all of them, if I only got assigned to one. But that at least gives you a little bit more insight, because at the stage 2, my roommates found out that one was in Epcot at the Food and Wine Festival, one was attractions in Adventureland and Liberty Square, and one was merchandise on Main Street. Again, they didn't know their specific store, there was specific attractions, they just knew the park and the general area, which gives you information to get excited about. It's also at the 1 month out part that you'll start getting a lot of emails just reminding you about packing checklist, pre-arrival checklist, what documents you might need. Make sure you're checking your email regularly, that you're saving that information, writing it down, printing out something so that you can be prepared when you arrive. I'd also say 1 month out is about a good time to, if you haven't yet, start packing, or at least try and have an idea of what you're packing, because you know, you're gone for 5 months, and maybe for those of y'all who went to college out of state or far away, you're used to this. I went to school 30 minutes from home, so if I forgot something or if I couldn't fit everything in my car, I would literally just drive home and go and get it. But this was literally a 20-hour car drive across the country, and so I had to make sure that everything I wanted to bring fit in my Toyota RAV4. My family, we like to be organized and plan and print everything out. So my mom was so gracious enough, and I helped her a little bit, to create this big fat binder for me to take with me on my program, and stuff's probably gonna fall out. Oh gosh, yeah. So it literally had like all the park closing and opening times. It had maps of the park. It had my itinerary in it and different stuff to recommend that people bring and what to do and different phone numbers. She even, I'm trying to see if I still have it, yeah. She printed out a map of the area and like circled the gym I wanted to go to and circled the different parks and wrote different gas stations and grocery stores and banks that I could have on here. So yeah, you don't have to go this far if you don't want, but I will say I kept this just like by my bed, and I use this so often during my time there. So I would highly recommend some sort of binder like this, but even if you don't want to go this all out, like that's totally okay. Just make sure that you have your documents and the important emails and everything that you need to know, because the worst thing you could do is arrive there on your, the day you're supposed to arrive and not have something that you need and not be able to get it. Now 1 week out, you're gonna be so excited, but make sure you check your email, because this is when you will get your itinerary. So I was arriving on the 13th, August 6th, I got my itinerary, and this is going to have just your arrival date on it, which you should already know, and again, your role information on it. But it's also going to have your housing complex and your itinerary of everything that's going on during your day of arrival, which is going to be your busiest day, as well as that first week and any other testings and trainings that you may have. Then with your itinerary, there's going to be a few things that will definitely be on there for everyone, and then a few others that will vary depending on what role you have. So everyone's going to have their arrival time. Those are scattered as well, so just because you're all arriving on the 13th, I was the first arrival time of my roommates. I think I checked in at like 8, and then they were like 8:39 and 9:30 behind me. So again, they just stagger those so that 4 people aren't moving stuff in all at once, and they don't have, hundreds of people just rushing in, arriving on the same time, and kind of overloading the system. You will also on there have a housing meeting, a welcome meeting. This won't be the same time as your roommates necessarily, so don't freak out if your roommates and you don't have the same time. That doesn't mean that you aren't rooming together. None of my roommates and I had the same housing meeting time, yet we all obviously roomed together. This is just kind of a welcome meeting, explaining some of the rules, getting you just meet other people in the housing thing, and explaining everything that you're going to need to know about living in that specific complex. This is also going to have your time for casting, which is so exciting. You get to go to the Disney casting building, which is a dream come true. And this is kind of more the boring part, where you need to bring your IDs, you're gonna fill out some paperwork, just kind of the boring HR stuff for casting you as a cast member. But It's so cool, so really enjoy the experience. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours depending on where you are in line. You will also have your traditions date on there. And I'll talk about traditions in just a minute, but those are the 3 main dates that everyone will definitely have, or your 4, excuse me. The check-in time, your housing meeting, your casting time, and your traditions time. Now, if you're attractions, I'm not sure if any of the other roles have it. I know merchandise didn't, and I don't think quick service food and beverage had it. It might just be attractions. But if you are attractions role, you will have to do a drug and alcohol test. That's just a simple peeing in a cup. And so on your itinerary, it will give you a time for that. Super simple and easy, but obviously they want to make sure if you are operating rides, you aren't on drugs, because then you could end up hurting someone. Now, I know at the moment you've all been waiting for the arrival day. It is so exciting. I just want to remind you guys to just like take a deep breath and enjoy it because it's going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy. I was running to casting while my parents were still trying to unpack. Our apartment was a mess. I didn't know how I wanted to decorate my room yet, and it's a lot of going on, but I promise you, just like soak it in because it goes fast, and it's really kind of the special moment that you get to share with yourself, your roommates, and your parents, or whoever helped you move in. When you do arrive, you're going to check in at whatever complex you have at the main office, and you're going to go in there. They're going to give you your key and your apartment number and a map, and obviously show you where you are and give you this kind of little welcome packet, which I think I actually have. Hold on. Here you go. They'll give you your little program guide, and this just has the basic information, Disney look, the kind of rules for Disney language, different numbers if you call if you need help. They also have information on every single complex, so a map of every complex. And on my map, they draw you to show you where your place is. So you'll get this, and on the back of it, it will have this is the exciting part, because you find out, you obviously knew your complex already, but you'll find out your apartment number and what size you got. So I was the first person, the roommate, to check in, and when I got this, I saw this a 2-bedroom 4-person, and so I knew pretty well. We all had the comments on our sheet, and we wanted 2-bedroom 4 people because it was only 4 of us, so we probably were together, but I still didn't know, and so that's the super exciting part. And then your key will be taped to this. Go into your apartment and start moving in all you want, and all the excitement comes as your roommates will start moving in, and you'll say hello, and you'll be meeting all these new people, and you'll take pictures like this, and it's gonna be so much fun. First day, like I said, is pretty hectic. You're all trying to move in. You're trying to figure out, is there anything we're missing? How do we want to decorate? Kind of just going around these situations. So just have fun with it. Beforehand, we did know that we wanted to decorate in an America theme because we all love America, and so we brought different USA stuff in red, white, and blue. And also, that first day is a good time to kind of, once you've moved most of it in, figure out what do you still need and run to a Target or a Walmart or something and get that. So that first week, I would also just say, get to know the area, go exploring. There's Universal, there's SeaWorld and stuff, but also just try and find the nearest gas station, the nearest grocery store, the nearest gym if you're interested. Like, just kind of look around, because for that first week, you won't be able to get into the park until after you've done traditions, at least not as a cast member, because cast members get in for free, and so of course you could pay, but like, I don't know why you would pay to get in the park during that time, because you're in 7 days gonna get in for free kind of thing. So explore the area, just enjoy time with the roommates, get to know them, enjoy time with your parents or whoever dropped you off if they're staying, and just use the time to like settle, because once training starts, you get thrown in, and it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of magic, but it's also a lot of hard work. My roommates and I, we went to Disney Springs a lot, and we had lots of dessert, and we did the kitchen sink, kitchen tub, or whatever that challenge is called, and it was so fun. And we also went to a little tea party at the Grand Floridian, so you can hop around to the resorts, go to Disney Springs, go to some of the restaurants, just kind of have fun and explore the area before training starts. Now is the most exciting part. It is traditions, and this is where you officially become a cast member. Now, granted, traditions is like a 6-hour-long class. You go to Disney University, and you are just learning the history of the park, the history of the program, like just so much information and awesome experiences. The university is right by the Magic Kingdom employee entrance, so then you will go over to Magic Kingdom and kind of walk around and just see everything in action, which is so exciting because you're kind of like on the official side now. And people kind of stare at you because you do have to wear business casual for this, so obviously people usually don't wear business casual when they go to the parks. But I will say, especially for girls, like wear comfortable shoes because you're gonna be walking around in, you know, the humidity, so you might get blisters if you have uncomfortable shoes. But then at the end of traditions, you get your name tag, and that is so exciting, and everyone takes pictures afterwards and cheers. And at that point, once tradition ends, the minute your class ends, you are officially a Disney World cast member. And so this means that you can also get into the parks for free. Typically, you'll see a lot of people and their roommates going into Magic Kingdom to watch Happily Ever After. It's kind of like the big ceremony moment. So I ended up just going into the park on my own, having so much fun. A little button saying I'm celebrating, you know, my first time in the park as a cast member, watching Happily Ever After, bawling my eyes out, and just really enjoying that night. So after traditions, it's just a super special moment because you are officially a Disney cast member, and that's when the real fun begins. So that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, you got some great information from it. Instead of my normal outro, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it up to this little quote on the wall here. It says, "Promise me you'll always remember that you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." I'll see you guys in the next video.